I'm going to talk about the Derby Connected project, which we worked on with Derby City Council. I'm from ITP, we were the appointed consultants from 2012 till 2016. I'm just going to talk through what the programme involved and how the business engagement process worked, what we actually delivered in terms of the outputs and outcomes, and what lessons we've learned that can be applied elsewhere. Yes, so as Andrew mentioned, we were lucky enough to be awarded the 2017 Sustainable Transport Award and the overall Winners Award back in June. And there's some pictures of us getting our awards on the night. Me and my colleagues went down to London, so we had a nice evening as a reward for our hard work. Right, so what was Derby Connected? It was funded through the DFT's LSDF programme and lasted initially from 2012 to 2015, and then we got some additional funding to cover 2015 to 2016. Over that period, we had over £5 million of DFT money to spend on capital and revenue measures, and it delivered over 50 projects across Derby. We focused on the southeast quadrant of Derby, which I'll show you a map of in a minute, and it was a programme primarily targeted at work-based trips, so commuters, employers, and also trying to get job seekers back into employment through expanding their travel horizons. So this is the area of Derby which we focused on through the project. It was just outside the city centre, then out to the southeast, so it took in quite a varied area in terms of employment types. Pride Park, which is right near the train station, is sort of typical business park, so lots of offices, but also some retail offer as well, and it's where the Derby football stadium is. And then coming out towards Rainsway, which is sort of the outer ring road to Derby, there was more industrial sites, so Balfour Beatty are based out there, Severn Trent have got their offices, so quite a different type of employers based at that location, and also your standard sort of retail parks were dotted around the city. So why is it so important to change people's travel behaviour? I've sort of pulled out sort of three key sort of drivers that I think are all quite prominent at the moment. On the left hand side, just signifying congestion, which obviously wastes a lot of time and money and generates carbon emissions. Linking into that, noise and air pollution. A lot of cities at the moment have been designated as not meeting the air quality standards, and transport is a massive contributor to air pollution. So there's a big driver to try and get people either into more sustainable vehicles or onto walking and cycling public transport. And finally, there's a massive obesity crisis hitting the population at the moment, and not just obesity, general inactivity. Around 40% of 40 to 6-year-olds don't even manage one 10-minute walk every month. So through encouraging short trips to the shops, which is the sort of thing we were trying to do, it's a good way to get people active, which then they might expand and do more of. So we were appointed to the business engagement element of Derby City Council's Connected Fund. This diagram just summarises the delivery process that we took. So ITP, with the Travel Advice Service, we sat at the top of the programme, and we worked closely with Derby City Council's Connected officers, and we were working to get in contact with local businesses to try and tell them about the benefits of travelling sustainably, and we sort of gave them a whole host of offers which they could then feed down to their staff. So we gave them the overall briefing on the connected offer, and then for businesses that showed interest, we worked with them to develop tailored travel action plans for their sites, and we did travel surveys with their staff to try and identify where the gaps in the provision were. And then from there, we could signpost them onto the various service providers which could offer more tailored employee level support. So this might be PTP, it might be a workplace travel grant if the business identified a lack of cycle parking, for example. We had bus taste tickets to give away, that sort of thing. So through our initial engagement, we then signposted them on to the other service providers. So ITP have done a lot of business engagement work across the country, and through all this we've developed an approach that we've called Engage Plus, which is about taking businesses through a whole a sort of staged approach to business engagement. One of the key things is making sure that before you go out and start talking to businesses, you've actually prepared, that you're going out and you're looking professional, you've got materials that you can give out to them, and that you know your locality. So once we've got the preparation stage sorted and we've developed a strong brand, which Derby had a very strong connected brand, which they've then continued to use across their transport sphere, and they're continuing to do now. We went out and started engaging with businesses. So we went and tried to speak to the contacts within the business that we thought would be most engaged in transport. So it might be a facilities manager, it might be the health and wellbeing officer, or it might be somebody else within the business who's got a particular interest in sort of cycling or something themselves. And then once you've sort of built up and you've got their support, it's about maintaining that network. So we did that through regular events, newsletters, campaigns. We sent them Christmas cards to make them feel that they were part of something bigger than just themselves. Oh, sorry, I've got time on. So what were we actually offering the businesses? There was a wide range of offers because we were looking at promoting all modes, so walking, cycling, public transport and car sharing. And one of the key bits of information we used was some local area maps which we produced. So for each sort of the sub-areas of the focus area, we came up with these multimodal maps which covered all the transport options and also had little adverts for other services like bike parking, cycle training, that sort of thing. As I said, we had connected workplace grants, which were for businesses. They were match funded up to £25,000, so quite a large sum of money. And businesses could use these to improve their cycle facilities, put showers in, install CCTV, anything that they thought their staff needed to try and make their journey by sustainable transport easier. For people who lacked confidence, we run cycle training sessions. For people who had bikes but they were worried that they weren't maybe fit to go on the road, we did doctor bike sessions where someone came in and gave everyone an MOT for their bikes. We did one-to-one PTP sessions, so sitting down with an individual member of staff, asking them about their journey to work, what barriers they face, and trying to come up with the best option for them. And as an incentive to get people to try the bus, we did bus taste tickets events. So for example, we went out on a branded bus around the business parks, stopped off at various points and gave people bus tickets. If they showed us their car keys to show they were a car driver, we said if they committed to giving the bus a try, we'd give them a free ticket. So the diagram on the right hand side just sort of gives you an overview across the programme about the number of people that took part in the various initiatives that we did. One of the really popular initiatives with businesses was Bike Back Derby, which was a social enterprise. They trained people in the local prisons on how to fix bikes, and then when they got out of prison, they repaired the bikes and then they sold those bikes on for very low cost. So it's a self-funded programme. So this is just a summary of who we engaged. There's a lot more business in this, but this is just some that we put on a slide just to show the diversity of businesses we work with. So everything from retailers, hotels, offices, conference centres, Web Helper, a big call centre operation on Pride Park, to more sort of small-scale businesses like so basically every type of business we would work with, anyone who showed an interest, we try and work with, and we deliberately were told to try and target a variety of businesses, both in terms of size and in terms of sector. Okay, and then just to show you sort of in a different way how our businesses, this shows you all the businesses that we engaged across the city. So we managed to get businesses in all corners of the city. When we did the extension project 2015-2016, we moved into the city centre, so that's why you can see some businesses up in the city centre area too. So a key part of our way of getting businesses engaged and keeping them interested was to develop an accreditation programme, which was to recognise people's efforts in terms of promoting transport within their workplace. And we focused on each organisation's process across the year and reflected the effort that they'd invested, and also reflected the efforts of individual members of staff. So it's a 4-tier process, going from, you've got people, it's not so it's recognition, which people just generally showed an interest. Then we had bronze, silver plus we created in the final year because we felt people had done a bit more than silver but not quite enough to get gold. And gold were the businesses that we really felt had made a proper commitment to sustainable transport and who could actually demonstrate a shift in sustainable transport within their organisation over the year we'd worked with them. The accreditation scheme culminated in an awards event each spring. So we did 3 awards events. The first 2 were breakfast events and the final one was an evening event because it was the last year we thought we'd do something a bit more special. So this photograph is from the first year's award event, and these are all the award winners. So as well as the accreditation scheme, we also did 4 overarching awards. So for the best small business site, best large business site, the initiative of the year and the travel champion of the year, and these are all the winners and highly commended candidates from the first year of the awards. And we got the Councillor Afsal, who at the time was the portfolio holder for transport, to come along on the night and give out the awards, and Peter Richardson, who's the chairman of or chief exec of the D2N2 LEP. He was really on board with the project from the start, and we got him along to become compere for the night. So it was really good to show buy-in both from the council officers but from the D2N2 body. So just thought I'd give you one case study just to show you the type of businesses we work with and what we did with them. SNC Lavalin are a rail consultancy based on Pride Park in Derby. They used to be called Interfleet. They were one of the first businesses to get in contact with Derby Connected and want to get involved in the project, and that was back in April 2013, I think. So we worked with them to deliver a number of on-site initiatives for their staff, including PTP, bus taste tickets, cycle maintenance sessions and travel seminars for their new graduates each autumn. When we did the staff travel survey with them, it showed that there was a lack of high-quality facilities for cyclists, and that was putting some people off cycling. So they successfully applied for a grant to improve their facilities, and they got £17,000, which contributed to the refurbishment of showers, changing areas and locker facilities, and put security cameras outside their cycle shelters in Pride Park. The quote on the right is just from the travel champion at their business, just showing why they got involved, and they were a key, member of the network from day one. Right, so this just gives you a summary of what we delivered over the 3 years that we worked with Derby on the Connected programme. So in total, we engaged over 250 businesses, which had around 33,000 employees. I have to say, the hospital has 9,000 employees, so they sort of slightly skew the results. But again, it's a big number of people that we contacted through the businesses. 195 of those businesses undertook staff travel surveys with us, and 229 worked with us to produce tailored travel action plans for their site. At the end of the programme, Transport for Quality of Life were appointed by Derby City Council to undertake a overarching monitoring and evaluation report for the Derby Connected programme, just to see what it had delivered. And they did some in-depth analysis of staff travel survey from 10 of the connected businesses, where we got a big enough sample to analyse the changes. And this was used to estimate the impacts of the travel advice impact. So overall, we think across those 10 businesses that we undertook the analysis for, there was an average 6 percentage point reduction in car alone trips across the programme, which obviously is quite a big reduction over the years. And this resulted in a reduction in car mileage and a reduction in carbon emissions. So obviously that was just for the 10 businesses that we spoke to, but it's obviously going to be much more if we looked at all the businesses engaged. So what did we learn through the years that we worked on the Derby Connected project, and what lessons could be applied if this type of project would applied elsewhere? So I think one of the key things we learned was keep it simple. We made Connected a free thing for members to join. I know all the business networks do charge, but we decided that it wasn't high enough on business's agenda, that we needed to make it free and as easy as possible for them to get involved and get the offers that we were offering. We needed to make sure we got the businesses buy-in, so we didn't want to just give them out money and incentives without them having to do anything. So we only gave them the offers of support if they helped us do the staff travel survey and they implemented the travel action plans. Relationships were a key part of the process. The travel advisors on our team worked with each business, so each business had one point of contact, so we could develop trust and long-term relationships, so businesses knew who to come back with in future if they had a query. Perseverance is a big thing. So sometimes we spoke to businesses at the start of the project, but at that point it wasn't on their agenda. So we had to leave them a little bit and then come back when we either had a new offer or something had happened that we thought might want them to re-engage. It's key to recognise the individuals and the corporate motivations and target your messages to the type of organisation. So obviously if a business carbon's their main driver, then go down that route. If it's health and wellbeing, go down that route. And also individual motivations matter. So if you've got a cycle champion in your midst, then play to that. Few more messages. So tailor your communication methods. You've got to work with each business to work out what methods work best. So for a business that's a retailer, it's pointless trying to email their staff because their staff don't have work email addresses. They're on the shop floor, so you need to do more face-to-face communication. Combine a strong brand with a high-quality offer. So don't go for style over substance. You need a strong brand, but equally you need a strong offer underneath that to back it up. Make sure you monitor progress, tracking who you're engaged with, and then you can monitor your progress against your initial targets. Recognise success. So in our case, we did the business awards to recognise success, and this was a really good way of keeping businesses bought into the process. And consider the legacy from the outset. Building in legacy measures means that once your project finishes, the employers can carry on doing things by themselves. And the Connected brand, I think, is one of the key legacy measures that we took out of the Derby Connected programme, because Derby City Council are continuing to use that brand for all their transport messages going forward.